Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Cyrus. Um, I made a video like this a couple of videos ago, and I'm pretty sure somewhere in the video I said I probably wouldn't make any more political videos, but I lied. Um, on top of that video, which if you didn't watch it, I recommend going and watching it first so you can hear me complain about the current state of America some more. Today, I want to use my voice to defend people who are definitely not defended for the most part in any political circumstance. So today I'm going to be talking about the LGBTQ plus community and why Cleveland, Ohio should be made a sanctuary city. I don't know if you know this, but I'm from Ohio. I was born and raised here. Pretty much my entire life I have lived within 2 to 3 hours from Cleveland. When people from out of state ask me where I'm from, I say Cleveland. I live right here, and obviously, I have a lot of gay and trans and lesbian and genderqueer and non binary friends around here. And the thought of all of them losing access to their health care is absolutely disgusting. This video is going to be a little lengthy. I did end up writing like 8 or 9 pages of just front and back talking about why this is important and, you know, what it means to be trans and how their lives are already complicated. So, like, why do you feel the need to make it even more complicated? So, I would like by saying that Cleveland is very well known for a lot of things. I mean, it's an innovative city. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've got the Football Hall of Fame. We've got the Cavs. We've got the Browns. We've got the Guardians. Cleveland is a very, very high traffic, touristy area, but it's also an area that have a lot of people living there that are part of the community and the reason that Cleveland thrives the way it does. So, we would not be the first sanctuary city by far. Um, I could have realistically made this a video for Mike DeWine himself to make us like a sanctuary state. Um, but let's be real. That's not going to happen. So instead, I'm going to appeal to the councilmen and women of Cleveland. The least we can do is make one city a sanctuary city in Ohio, a safe place, a safe haven for LGBTQ plus people and immigrants. So there has been quite a few states. It's really hard to find like this exact information, and every website seems to tell you something different. But for sure, there are quite a few states that do have some sort of sanctuary status, whether it be a city or it's the state itself. So obviously, New York and California, you know that they're safe. You go to San Francisco, you go to LA, you go to New York City, you are protected. Massachusetts, Colorado, Illinois, Washington, Oregon, uh, DC, Pittsburgh, Sacramento, West Hollywood. Um, I mean, honestly, pretty much all of California is pretty okay, pretty good. Every day in the news, you see some sort of attack on the LGBTQ community. Now, this entire video, I'm going to be specifically talking about trans people for the most part, but all of this that I'm talking about covers everyone on the gay, gender, whatever spectrum, and like I said, immigrants. The point of a sanctuary city is to protect your rights. So basically, as a migrant coming to America, you are safe there. You can talk to the police without fear of being persecuted or deported. You have access to medical care and stuff like that. And the same thing goes for LGBTQ plus people, trans people. It also protects LGBTQ plus youth and their families, which are now also being persecuted. I'm talking about everything that is being blocked, from hormones to surgeries to just general care because of discrimination. If you or anyone in your family that you're close to are being persecuted right now for being in the LGBTQ community, you can literally go to any of those cities or states I listed above and you will be safe, at least for now. So, why a sanctuary city? Well, like I said, it promotes general public safety, it promotes trust between communities and law enforcement, and the whole point is to uphold American values, which may or may not have been the entire point of my last video. Sanctuary cities actually show a lower crime rate because more people come forward because they can trust the police. It protects fundamental rights. It promotes respect for humanity. It provides protections for jobs such as anti-discrimination, wage discrimination, gender discrimination. It has been proven that in sanctuary cities, unemployment rates also go down because, again, those rights are being protected. Freedom is the number one American value, and it has been since the minute anyone came over from over yonder because they wanted freedom. They were tired of being persecuted for living their lives. They just wanted 14.3% of the US population is immigrants, which is approximately 47.8 million people. Trans people take up 1% of the population. That is 2.3 million people. From everything I understand, making a city a sanctuary city is definitely not an easy feat at all. It's going to be hard, you have to fight, but it's worth it to protect your citizens in the end. So, a lot of people use the 14th Amendment. States reserve the power that the Constitution doesn't specifically state is covered by federal or state. So, if there is no delegation, the state comes first. It indicates that states can maintain and establish their own laws and policies as long as they don't contradict the federal laws. Here are a couple of the most LGBTQ friendly cities. Yes, they are going to be bigger cities, and yes, the cost of living there is going to be more, but you're protected. Boston, Philadelphia, San Francisco, New York City, LA, and DC are going to be the 6 safest cities in the United States for LGBTQ plus individuals. Why wouldn't we add Cleveland to this list? Why do you not want to be ahead of the game and pushing America forward to a unity instead of feed into the hatred that every other city and state is feeding into? On the screen, I am going to post some phone numbers and links to websites and resources for the LGBTQ plus community. Some of them are going to be specifically Cleveland related, and some of them are going to be federally related. The 3 biggest hospitals in this area are going to be MetroHealth, Cleveland Clinic, and University Hospitals, and all 3 of them have a specific LGBTQ plus related program. So, in Cleveland, the one that I've heard the most about is the Pride Clinic, which is through MetroHealth. Um, Obviously, they do other stuff there, but their nickname is literally the Pride Clinic because they have a staff that accommodates to these people. There's an LGBTQ plus community center in Cleveland. If you need some other resources and you don't quite want to go to like a doctor or a hospital or somewhere like that, you can always go to Planned Parenthood. They do have specific resources and they can definitely give you referrals and at least point you in the right direction if you don't know what you're doing. There's been gay bars in Cleveland since the 1940s. By no means is Cleveland a not gay area. There are also several places right around Cleveland that have sanctuary status and are also very well known in the community here, which would be Lakewood, Cleveland Heights. That's just that's the gay area up here. The first gay club was the Cadillac Lounge, which was on Euclid. There was also another one called Little Ted's that it was by the library. Some of these bars were also homes to some of the earliest drag performances here. Gay-friendly bars started popping up all over the place in the 50s and 60s. Students from the college and university would literally just hang out in the gay bars. By the 70s, there were plenty of gay bars to choose from. One is the Leather Stallion, which opened in the 70s, and it's still open to this day. At this point, gay liberation started taking hold in Cleveland. LGBTQ plus people started creating new spaces for themselves that weren't just bars and clubs. So this is where the community center pops up. Through the 60s and 70s, there would be plenty of LGBTQ plus related organizations and communities popping up all over Cleveland. GEAR is a research for gay people. They are an activism group that has been credited with opening the LGBTQ plus community center. They also have a gay-friendly magazine called High Gear. The center helps with outreach, AIDS-related things, and combating hate crimes. They changed their name in 1994 to the AIDS Task Force. There has also been several gay church organizations in Cleveland. And with all of those people at this point, we've hit the 90s and the gay community is booming. Pride has been celebrated in Cleveland annually since the 70s. Personally, I went to Pride in Cleveland in I think it was 2017, and honestly, it was such a place of just warmth and welcoming and acceptance that I think having a place like that is very important for everyone. The AIDS Task Force of Greater Cleveland was founded at Case Western. It's provided support and information and other sources for the LGBTQ plus community. It's provided support, information, and other resources for people living with AIDS. One of the first ever pro-LGBTQ plus Jewish congregations was actually in Cleveland Heights. They moved into a temple in 2005, and they still regularly host LGBTQ plus events. The Gay People's Chronicle was the second gay-friendly publication in Ohio. It ran from 1985 to 2015. It had current events, it had forums, and it even had comic strips. Trans Family was founded in 1995. They connect trans people to resources not only in Ohio but all across the country. They advocate in public schools and have partnerships with similar organizations like PFLAG and GLSEN. They host meetings the fourth Saturday of every month. These are at the LGBTQ plus Community Center of Greater Cleveland, and they're from about 11:30 to 1:30. The LGBTQ plus Community Center page has pretty much any resource that you could need. There are educational pieces for LGBTQ plus people and their families. There are numbers for medical places and suicide places and mental health places. There's support groups. There's groups for LGBTQ plus religion, AA, veterans. They have guides. They have local support groups. They have choir groups and swimming groups. They have Jewish, Black, Asian support groups. They have youth groups. They have legal supports. They have a job board, and they have pretty much, like I said, anything you could possibly need as a person of the LGBTQ plus community. The community center is also one of the oldest in the country, and this is all the more reason that Cleveland should start pushing forward. CSU, which is Cleveland State University, has an entire page dedicated to the LGBTQ community and resources for them. They have campus resources like inclusive bathrooms, they have counselors that you can talk to, and they have student organizations also. The Queer Student Alliance hosts a variety of events throughout the year, like prom. They have open mic night, they have drag shows, they also have regular meetings for people to attend. CSU also has a chosen name policy, so basically, if you don't know, trans people usually don't identify with the name that they were given at birth, so they pick a new name, a chosen name, and at Cleveland State, you can actually have it put in your file that you have a chosen name, and they will change every single thing they can, including your name badge, to your chosen name, as long as it doesn't have to be your legal name. They have a program called Affirming Space, which is for visibility and support. After going to a session, you receive a placard that you can actually put somewhere to let people know that you are a safe space and that you are someone safe to talk to. They literally have an entire office that is just dedicated to anti-discrimination and anti-harassment. We have had domestic partnerships here since the 2000s. Domestic partnership allows same-sex couples to have all of the same basic benefits that a married couple would have without actually being married, because at the time you couldn't be gay and get married. You can help with medical decisions, if there's any children's rights. You can get health insurance from your significant other's employer, and you have the right to inheritance in case your significant other were to pass away. Now, same-sex marriage is legal here. It became legal in 2015, and I guess it is better late than ever. Fair employment practices we have had since 2009, and those are protections for LGBTQ plus people. We have had a lot of Ohio legislators that has been talking about LGBTQ plus discrimination laws, but unfortunately none of them have ever been signed into law. You can change your gender marker, you can change your name on your ID and your social security number and your birth certificate. However, Mr. Mike DeWine has signed it into policy, saying that kindergarten through 12th grade and college students all have to use the bathroom for their assigned birth gender. On the bright side of things, gay sex has been legal since 1974 in Cleveland, and conversion therapy has been banned in 7 Ohio cities, including Cleveland. Ohio was the first state to exempt married couples from being persecuted for sodomy, and Ohio was one of the earliest states to decriminalize being gay. We have housing discrimination bans here. I'm just saying 4.3% of Ohio is in the LGBTQ plus community. That is nearly 300,000 people in our workforce identify as being a part of the community. I'm sure you're wondering, how do you become a sanctuary city? Well, I am not a politician. I definitely am not in the political atmosphere whatsoever. But I did my best to gather exactly what we as people of Cleveland need to do to make this a safe haven for everyone. So there's one thing that's really important that you have to do. You have to speak. You have to open your mouth. You have to make your voice heard. It doesn't matter if it's politics or if it's on social media or if it's in a store or if it's at a gas station. Make your voice heard. Talk to people. Tell them how you feel. Give them the facts and why it's not okay to persecute so many people, which is such a small percentage of the population as it. Call local government offices. Tell them how it's not fair. And the most important is to gain sympathy from the council members of the city. Join advocacy groups and find a place where you could be surrounded by like minded people that are pushing for the same rights that you are. The goal is to pass a resolution or a policy that protects the LGBTQ plus community. You'll need a group of people to stand behind you, people that support this. You will need a lawyer that can help you with the language because, again, it cannot go against any federal laws. And then you have to start building a narrative. You have to go out. You have to get the story out. You have to get your story out. You have to get LGBTQ plus stories out. Tell them how they feel, how they're being persecuted, how this is affecting everyone. Approach people the right way and make them see that all we're trying to do is give everyone equal rights. You have to maintain a positive attitude the entire time. You cannot give up. You always have to have your hopes up. You're going to want to connect with community groups, and you're going to want to use their most powerful weapon against them: propaganda. Everywhere you look, there is some sort of propaganda against either Democrats or libtards or atheist people or the LGBTQ plus or immigrants, and that is how they get the masses to follow them. A pretty colored picture with some negative sounding sentence on it, and that is enough to convince the masses that the LGBTQ plus community is, I don't know, grooming children and turning 5-year-olds into the opposite gender. I don't know. At the end of the day, the goal is to get the right people listening. The people of Cleveland. The people that matter. I just want to kind of give, or try to give, a brief overview of what it's like to be trans. Now, there's a lot of things that no one would understand unless they actually went through it themselves. And being trans is one of them. I can read you people's descriptions of being trans all day, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter unless you've actually felt it yourself. Trans women are not men who want to just dress like women, and trans men are not women who are just tomboys or want to dress like dudes. They are people whose body doesn't match. The trans experience is unique to every single person that goes through it. No two people have the same journey. Don't think of trans people like someone who was born as a different gender, but think of them as someone whose body doesn't reflect their gender. Your gender is your soul. It's on the inside. It has nothing to do with the outside shell that we were given. So what exactly is at stake if there are no sanctuary cities? Well, healthcare is going to be the biggest one. You can now be discriminated against in your jobs, in the medical environment. There's also going to be skyrocketing mental health issues, and the suicide rates are going to go up. If you remove gender-affirming care from Medicaid, treatment will stop for approximately 150,000 people. Trans people would be turned away from healthcare, even if it's not trans-related, just for being trans. Trans people can lose their jobs. They can not even get jobs just for being trans. And if trans people don't have protected rights, then exactly who is supposed to protect their rights? Are we not the people? Also, with all of this, minors can't disclose their pronouns or names or if they're trans to any of their teachers or counselors without them being told on. I mean, a lot of teachers are literally losing jobs because they are refusing to follow the rules of outing students. Students that should be able to come to trusted adults like teachers and counselors just to talk. Families and medical staff are also now under threat just for helping trans people or being related to trans people. Parents are being threatened with abuse allegations, and sometimes CPS is even getting called in just for them having a kid that's transgender and them letting their kid live their trans lives. All of these laws that are getting passed and getting created are creating a stigma against trans people. They already have a higher suicide rate and a higher rate of mental illness, so why exactly do you feel the need to make it harder? Trans people that don't have access to medical care are going to try to find it somewhere else. So would you rather have a safe place where they can go and get the medical attention they need, or would you rather them go on the internet or go to the streets and find hormones from someone, to share needles with someone and maybe get, I don't know, HIV or hepatitis because they weren't taught how to correctly give themselves the hormone? You also have to have doctor supervision and regular checkups if you're going to be on hormones. You can have blood clots, you can have high blood pressure, or liver disease are just some of the complications from having too high levels of hormone. Let's just talk about the trans experience already for a moment. Let's take away all the political stuff and just talk about what it means to be trans and what they already go through. So, when you are trans, the first thing you're going to do is internally accept the fact that you are indeed trans. The next thing you're going to do is socially transition. So you're going to pick out a new name and try it out. You're going to have to come out to friends and family and coworkers, and they've got to start calling you by your new name and your new pronoun. You'll probably buy new clothes and deal with the general anxiety of, do I pass or do I not? A lot of trans people also deal with gender dysphoria, which is basically feeling like you were born in the wrong body or you don't identify with the gender you were born. Then comes the legal part. So now you have been going by this name for a while. You have to go through the courts to legally get your name changed and to get your gender changed. So it's easy, right? Of course not. It's different from state to state. So I'm in Ohio, so I'm going to talk about what the process is like here in Ohio. You have to submit a request to a judge through the probate courts to get your name changed. You have to get a paper filled out from a physician or some sort of counselor or psychiatrist just to get your gender marker changed, okay? You're going to go to the court. You are going to get basically an okay that you have a name change, which, by the way, you also have to announce in the paper before they will grant the name change. You have to change your gender. Now you have to pay for a new driver's license, new social security card, new birth certificate. And that is if you're in a state that will let you correct your birth certificate gender, because some states do not. The last part is arguably going to be the hardest part, and that is the physical transition. So this is the gender affirming care itself that I am talking about that would be protected in Cleveland. These are things like hormones, like surgery. So there are medical and non-medical transitions that all are part of the physical transitions. Whether you're a trans man who wants to start binding their chest so they have a flat chest, or if you are a trans woman who wants to stuff their bra so they have bigger boobs, or if you're a trans man and you want to pack so you look like they have a bulge, or a trans woman who actually tucks their extra piece behind, in between their legs, basically to have a vagina-looking area. Hormones. Obviously, you know, trans men take testosterone and trans women take estrogen. The surgeries for men can include the following, but like I said, every trans person's journey is different, so not everyone chooses to get all of these surgeries. Some people choose to get no surgeries, and some people choose to get all surgeries. So first you're going to have top surgery, which is obviously removing the breasts. There is phalloplasty and metoidioplasty, which is creating a penis. There is scrotoplasty, which is creating the balls. And there's a vaginectomy, which is pretty much just getting rid of the vagina area. Oh, and I forgot that if you want future biological kids, you better make sure that you freeze your eggs before you even start hormones. Otherwise, the chances go down that you'll ever be able to have your own biological children. Let's talk about some procedures for trans women now. First would be breast augmentation. So getting bigger boobs. Larinoplasty, which would be basically shaving down the vocal cords to give them more of a high pitch, so you would have a woman's voice. Laser hair removal to remove any excess body hair or facial hair. Obviously, a lot of women shave, so a lot of trans women end up getting pretty much their legs, their arms, their face, chest, back. Even some of them get their private parts just because, well, there's a huge difference between, a hairy man and a not so hairy petite woman. They can do a tracheal shave, which basically shaves down the Adam's apple so you can't see it anymore. Facial feminization surgery to maybe get rid of like a jawline or a sharp like cheekbone, and even vaginoplasty, which is creating the vagina. Again, if you want children, make sure you freeze your sperm before you can start hormones. And all of this costs money. Who pays for these things? Living in America, you know exactly how much stuff costs. It literally costs like $18 for a Band-Aid at the hospital. It's like $500 for a 10-minute ambulance ride to the hospital. Completely changing your gender costs a lot of money. A lot of stuff goes into it. And do you know what helps some people pay for it? Medicaid. There are certain insurances that do, in fact, have gender affirming care under what is covered. But not only do you have to go through literally all of that just to feel comfortable in your own body, but you're also on hormones for the rest of your life. The transition itself is long, it's hard, it's expensive, and you're going to need annual checkups for the rest of your life just to, make sure you don't have anything weird going on in your blood, there's no cancer, your, hormone levels are all right. Overall, long story short, it is already hard on trans people. Cleveland is a pioneer in a lot of ways for different areas. Again, like the Hall of Fames and all of the sports teams and the community center and, the clubs. And I'm just saying that there is no reason that we cannot be one of the front runners for the future. I will link below all of the council members. So I just want to say thank you for sitting through this video. I know, again, I said I would never do it. I probably wouldn't do a political video again, and here I am. But I have a little platform, so why not use it? Again, I have a voice. I am going to be heard. And I am going to find other people that also want to be heard and give them a place for their voices to be heard. If you need any support, if you just want to chit chat, if you have any questions, my comment section is always open. If you want to talk privately somewhere, you can always give me a comment and we will, find some place to chit chat. If you are ever suicidal or if you need any help or resources, you can always reach out to people like the Trevor Project. Again, I will put all of those resources below. So thank you, and I hope you heard what I had to say. And I hope you feel the need to also make your voice heard by going to the council members of Cleveland and letting them know that we want Cleveland to be a sanctuary city. We want Cleveland to be ahead of the curve, and we want Cleveland to be the future of America.